Alright, so listen. I read the manga about half a year ago and most I remember is this, and this. So if I don't get everything right, suck a fucking cock! Follow Denji, a misfortunate boy, trying to survive the harsh life he was cursed with, only his dog by his side. Nonetheless, he knows how to enjoy the simpler things in life, like tits. And, is that it? Fuck, shit, improvise. What do you mean improvise? Chainsaw Man plays in an alternative world to ours, which can be summarized in one word. Fucked. Entities called devils have appeared in that world, which are the embodiments of everything scary. Just imagine a Romanian guy walking outside your door and you left your wallet unattended. In comes Denji, a homeless guy with more debt than the average American college student, and while not the smartest man on earth, he's a simple man. Even amidst the mess he found himself in, he only wishes for the most basic needs a man could have. A decent breakfast, enough time to play with his dog, and, you know how it goes, ass. Denji wants ass. Some might joke about selling their organs to cover their late father's debt, but Denji actually did it. What a mad lad. Sadly, that doesn't even begin to cover his debts, so he's forced by the friendly neighborhood Yakuza to hunt the aforementioned devils for money, putting his life on the line just to scrape by. So basically he would prostitute himself for a half-empty can of Mountain Dew and a bus ride home. And while some would prefer a good old-fashioned fistfight with the embodiments of fear, terror and nightmares, Denji chose another weapon. His dog. Get him, boy! A devil in the form of a mix between a dog and a chainsaw he saved as a child and became friends with. And now he's his best friend in the whole wide world. Who's a good dog? Who's a good dog? Yes, you are. One day he gets another job by the guy from the Yakuza who he follows cause man's gotta eat. But little did Denji know, the Yakuza are masters in the art of trolling, and so they stab him 37 times. Seduced by a devil that made zombies out of them, they kill Denji and his dog because, and I quote, he doesn't like him very much. If it works like that, my landlord's gonna get the shit kicked out of him next time I see him. They cut Denji and his dog up into Happy Meal sized pieces and throw him in the next dumpster where Pochta, who's a very good boy, gets a lick of that good shit, Denji's blood to be precise, which works like coke after fasting and gets him right back up. But saddened by his master's death, Good Dog practically sacrifices his own life to revive Denji from the dead. Now, Pochta serves as Denji's heart. But with that, Denji has lost the only thing important to him in his life. Now it's time for a simple math lesson. What do you get when you add chainsaw to man? If you guessed mutilated corpse, you would usually be right. But in this case, it's a batshit crazy guy with chainsaws as limbs. If you're still wondering where the fucking title came from, sort your life out. He rips his cord like a Beyblade and goes to town on the devil that's responsible for Pochta's death. And I could have sworn I've seen this somewhere before. After crashing the whole party with his handy dandy weapons of mass slaughter, the reason why probably most of you horny bastards are interested in this show enters the scene. I'll be honest, I don't fucking like you. As a high-ranking public safety devil hunter, Makima has the authority to decide over Denji's fate, who is now a hybrid between a demon and a human. Between a devil and a human. Not a demon. That's a different show. To summarize the conversation, it went like this. You can either die, okay, cool, don't want that, or you can become my dog. Shut the fuck up, I'm trying to sleep! Offering our naive Denji the ass he oh so desires, he becomes her pet and does whatever she wants. Any rational person would now realize that she's a twisted bitch. But Ming Dynasty Pussy got Denji acting unwise. He gets his own living quarters, gets thrown into a team of other devil hunters who he becomes friends with? Yeah, you could say that. And so the action-filled premise of him slaughtering devils in the name of horny plays out. You might wonder now, well, what's so good about Chainsaw Man then? I swear it's not just that. So in my opinion, Chainsaw Man excels at 2 points, especially in the anime adaptation. Numero uno. The fights. Okay, let's give him fucking chainsaws! How many? As many as he fucking needs! If you're someone who's mostly in it for the fights and the scenes that make you feel like you just had a heart attack and a panic attack at the same time, this might be your cup of tea. In contrast to other shows that recently gave themselves the action tag because they think it's funny, the author of Chainsaw Man had a different goal in mind. I don't know what he was on, but if you search for blood, gore and just a general sense of living in England, you're on the right track. Each fight drips with dynamic action, there are more fights than anyone would ever need, and you'll never be bored because half the time you'll think you're having a seizure from too much stimulation. Now this is something that I only found out after watching the first episode, but most of the show is done with CGI. It's good CGI, but CGI nonetheless. I'm personally not the biggest fan of it, but it doesn't bother me that much either. It's really a hit or miss for most people out there. On to the second point, which for me at least is the most important point. The characters. I know I talk a lot of shit when I'm making these videos, and especially when I'm talking about a guy who kills just to get some puss. But most of the characters are in a bizarre way pretty deep and complicated. I could just be interpreting I could just be interpreting shit into them, and Denji could really just be someone who seeketh them buttocks. But in my opinion, he's more nuanced than that. Sure, on the surface he may just seem like a simp for Makima, who follows her every order because the smell of tuna between her legs is so seducing. But if you look at the bigger picture, he just doesn't have any kind of experience with this kind of encounter. He's shown kindness for the first time in his life and doesn't really know how to react. He goes through his new life with only knowledge of a cruel life, explaining his naivety and fixation on basic needs. This sort of pattern encompasses the whole cast, having a simple front but being actually more complicated on second thought. What the fuck? Did I just pass 5th grade or something? That was actually intelligent. Now to the bad points. Okay, it's maybe not a bad point per se, but it's something that's intentionally supposed to bother you. The atmosphere and general direction of the story. The atmosphere is really well done, don't get me wrong, but it just made me feel like shit in general. And I don't need the extra fucking amount to the usual. So basically the atmosphere is, what's the word? You know that feeling when your mom just beat the shit out of you, but then she calls you for dinner so you just sit there, uncomfortable, that's the word I'm searching for. There are definitely scenes where the characters just goof around because they have as much of an IQ as I do, but you'll never really get the chance to relax. There's always something going on in the background, schemes being planned, betrayals announced, people dying. I mean, I get it. Humanity is doomed, devils fucking around like it's no one's business, but just let him be happy for a goddamn minute, man. He deserves it. I, for one, got sick at some point of everything just constantly going to shit. How much fucking death and suffering does one story need? Yeah, you see the child walking down the street? Looks pretty happy, doesn't he? Yeah, in approximately 0.5 seconds, his whole family's gonna get cranked by the gun devil for no reason. Like, brighten the fuck up, man. Who hurt you? The world is well built and explains why everything is happening the way it is well. Too well, in my opinion. I can't justify my dislike by saying it doesn't make sense, so I'm just sitting here like... If well-constructed suffering doesn't bother you, you can completely disregard this point. But if you're searching for that little bit of serotonin you get when characters you like actually have a good time and can't replace it with the adrenaline of battle, you might want to watch something else. And if you haven't noticed it yet, this isn't the kind of anime you can relax to. As a requirement to watch it, you have to headbutt a concrete wall 6 times and pick a fight with a local pitbull. You got everything you'd ever want in a shonen. Fights for days, enough blood to make any anemic cry, and well-executed violence to the point of making you want to punch drywall yourself. Coupled with the characters that you'll find more relatable than they have any reason to be, you're in for a good ride. But if you're searching for a happy end, dock at a different harbor, sailor. You won't find happiness here. Too long, didn't watch. Life is suffering, so beat the shit out of your landlord.